Hey besties, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited. If you couldn't tell from the title, we are going to be reading a book that has been all over the internet. This book released early this year, and Anne Hathaway immediately bought the rights to this book to make it a movie. And can I just say, I'm excited for this to come out. So if you don't know anything about this, or maybe you haven't even seen the thumbnail, you don't recognize the cover, that is going to be Yesteryear by Caro Claire Burke. And can I just say, everything about this book, like the cover, it's a hardback. I've not seen a paperback version yet, but like the cover is beautiful. The colors are stunning. Caro Claire Burke is a genius and a visionary. I am not even that far into the book, okay? I barely started this a couple of days ago and I've read a little bit, but this book I'm so excited about because if you couldn't tell, I don't know if you guys can see, let me see if the camera will pick it up. I don't know if you guys can tell, but there's a ton of tabs in here, okay? I'm not even to chapter 1 yet, okay? I am 28 pages in, and the amount of annotating and note-taking I am doing is insane. This is actually going to be my book club book for this month. If you don't know, or maybe you're new here, I have an in-person book club with me and a couple of my friends, and we pick a book every month and we like hang out and read and talk about the book. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to stop myself from finishing this book because number one, I plan to read it for a reading vlog and I don't really want to stop halfway and then wait to finish this reading vlog till the end of the month. Not going to happen. But number two, based off of the first 28 pages, I don't think I'm going to be able to put it down. So, I'm very excited. I also really love book club books because I always, as like the organizer of the book club, I wouldn't say like leader, but I try to like lead conversation and have like some sort of structure in my head, and I feel like I've been slacking on that recently, so I really want to like take notes and account for things. I typically have like a specific colored tab for book club possible discussions, topics, quotes, things that I like want to discuss with my book club, and so we're putting some tabs in for that specifically, but I'm also going to be trying to use my reading journal so that I can like keep track of all these things and like how I feel in the moment. So I'm very excited. This is like a very involved reading journey. So I'm very excited to take you guys along the ride with me. This book follows our female main character, Natalie, who is a homemaker, back to the olden times Christian influencer who is like rich and has all this money to have like basically the lines are not very clear as of yet. But essentially she like talks about, not giving your kids phones, how that's like horrible for you, but she also like spends a ton of time on her phone, obviously, to like post and do all these things. She has a producer, she has 2 nannies, okay? She has a politician husband, and she also has like farm hands, and she lives on a farm, and like basically her producer comes up with like all these content ideas and like yada yada, and like she talks about like making home cooked meals and growing your own food and not like buying all this like overconsumption shit. And like, don't get me wrong, homesteading is something that I think is great, but Natalie is quite literally psychotic. She is a narcissist. She is a bad mom, like by all accounts, a horrible boss. She's a horrible wife. She's a manipulator. She's a master manipulator. And being in Natalie's head literally makes me feel like I'm going crazy. And I love it. So I'm going to do a little bit of reading right now. The only thing is that it's currently 8:30 and Love Island is on at 9 p.m. So Jake and I are going to watch Love Island. But for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to like sit and try to get some reading in. Oh my freaking god, I hate Gabriel. Hey besties, it is another day. It is Saturday. I'm very excited because we are gonna continue this reading vlog. Yesterday I did a little bit of reading. We're now about like 51 pages into Yesteryear, and the first section, the first part was like the past leading up to this change, and then it's the present where she's currently in the 1800s and she's like very confused. She wakes up, she's like, it's cold, and like, why are the generators not working? What the hell? And like, then we get to learn about her childhood and like when she went off to college, and we learn about like when she was giving birth, and she says some messed up thing. This woman is crazy. Mentally ill babes. But anyways, we're gonna make a coffee, and I bought sourdough. I actually have two. I have this one, and I have like 2 pieces of this one left because Jake's been obsessed with it and I loved it, so we literally devoured it in the last 2 days. This is a chocolate coffee sourdough. Also, my local sourdough girl is the fisherman's wife. So nice. Her name is Whitney. Okay, so when I tell you guys I am annotating this book, like, I'm being so dead serious. Like, I'm not here to play. So we just finished chapter 6. We're on chapter 7 now, page 70, and that last chapter was really, it was good. So basically, our filming character Natalie, we're getting like a flashback of her in high school, or college, sorry, when she starts Harvard, and she's there on like a scholarship, and she comes from obviously a very small, rural, Christian, white town, and she gets a really shitty roommate. Her roommate's name is Ravina, and I said, Ravina's making me side with Natalie, and I really don't like it. Because like, why are you making me agree with Natalie? Like, ew. Ravina has a, what do you call it, like a pre-game party in their dorm with some of their friends, and like they are partying. Natalie's like laying in bed, and she hears her roommate come in with a boy, and they end up like having sex. And there's a quote in here that is just so, like, this writing, oh my god, it's so good. Let me see. I wanted to scream no, to tell them to stop, please stop. that I didn't want it. I couldn't bear it. But the pain and the fear and the humiliation had snatched the sound from my mouth, and so I lay there beneath the covers, heart still, blood frozen, mouth stretched open in a breathless corpse gasp, and let them have their way with me. And then we go back to like her dorm, and basically Ravina is having like another party or whatever, and Natalie's been like having to deal with her shit, and she's like super annoyed because she's been trying to put in like these transfers to like a single or to switch roommates. They're basically like, if nothing happened to you or if you're not unsafe, they're not gonna approve your change. And so Natalie's like really annoyed, and she's kind of like at her wit's end. And Ravina has like some girlfriends over, and it's supposed to be like a crazy night, like, oh my god, it's so important because like she's gonna have sex with this boy she's been talking to, I guess. Of course Natalie's there, and she's just like in her pajamas reading, and Ravina's like talking to her friend, and her friend's like, oh my god, like I know you're in my gender studies class. Ravina seems kind of like annoyed that like her friends would even acknowledge Natalie, because she thinks that like Natalie's the reason why she isn't as popular as she wants to be, because she's like, well, I have a weird Christian girl roommate and everybody thinks I'm weird because of it, and it's ruining my popularity, and really she's just like a weirdo, and like nobody wants to be her real friend. Mind you, like Ravina is like seething because she's like, isn't that like a 400-person lecture, like blah blah blah, like why would you even recognize her, like type shit. She's like mad that her friend thinks it's cool that Natalie was like arguing with the teacher, like got beneath his skin and stuff. Ravina's like, well, Natalie doesn't care about what anyone thinks anyways, right, like blah blah blah, kind of like trying to mean girl her. And Natalie's like, yeah, I don't give a shit what people think about me, basically. And she's like, oh, like that's so cute, like did your mom teach you that? And Natalie's like, just because you hate your mom doesn't mean I have to hate mine. Oh my god, that's crazy. Ravina's like, I don't hate my mom. And Ravina's also like drunk, low-key. Freaking Natalie's like just ignoring her, and Ravina's like, I never said that, like blah blah blah. And her friend's like, no, of course not, like you would never say that. And Ravina's like, are you not even listening to me, like blah 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 blah. And then she's like, do you want to know what I think, Natalie? Natalie's inner monologue is actually so funny, and it pisses me off because I'm like, especially in these chapters where it's like as she was younger, I feel like I would feel the same way. She really is like not afraid to call a dumb bitch, and neither am I. Ravina asks her like, do you want to know what I think? And in her inner monologue, she says, no, Rena, I don't know what you think. In fact, I'm shocked to learn you have any interiority to speak of. And like, she's actually really smart. So interiority, like, it's so funny when smart people are funny because you have no response to that. But obviously it's an inner monologue, so she doesn't say it out loud. Natalie's doesn't even wait for her to answer, and she just like, I think you think that you're better than everybody and like blah blah blah, but you're not, and you're just jealous of me because I actually have friends and a boyfriend. And Natalie's like, girl, she's reaching. That is not your boyfriend. Like, you just started talking to him. And she's like, I'm not jealous of you. And she's like, if anything, I feel sorry for you because you're unintelligent and you lack creativity. That insult, you lack creativity, is so good. I need to start using that more because it's so, like, genuinely, like, imagine being told like you lack creativity, meaning like you're simple-minded, you don't think outside the box, you're not like a passionate person, you have nothing going, like all the things that insinuates is truly insulting, and I need to start using that more. But most of all, I feel sorry because a person like you will never know true wonder, not once in your life. And she like freaks out, and she says, well, I don't concern myself with the opinions of whores. I keep calling her Ravina. Girl, that's Graceless Heart. She was like, what did you just call me? And then Natalie's like dishes out the air to her friend. Like, this is happening in front of her friends too. So like she dishes it out like, oh, you know, she lied about that guy. Like, she practically begged him. She's the real predator, not him. Because I guess Rita's been going around saying that guy like assaulted her and like is not to be trusted, calling him a predator. And like the word predator comes up like many times in this chapter. It's very obviously something that the author like wants you to take note of and like setting up for that. And it's so good. Crazy. And then they end up getting in a fight, and like Rena tries to punch her in the face and gets basically a letter of like, hey, that's against the rules, you can't punch your roommate. And like Natalie is so unbothered by the situation, like she doesn't even care that she's been punched in the face, because she's like, you know what, and I was reminded that the Lord really does work in mysterious ways, because now I have my own single dorm. And she's like, I can do whatever I want and yada yada. I think it's hilarious. Look at Chicken. That's my reading buddy. Don't look at my feet. No free feet. So I accidentally fell asleep. So I kind of want to sit in the sun to prevent that. So I think I'm gonna put on a skimpy little bathing suit and sit outside because it's sunny out and I feel like I need a tan. So we're gonna tan a little bit, sit outside. And I also, literally while I was asleep, I got a notification on Libby that I'm approved for the audiobook for Yesteryear. So I think I'm gonna pop that on while I lay out in the sun. Hey besties. So I actually have really bad news, but yesterday I ended up being able to get a tan in, and I read outside and I caught a little bit of a tan. I started listening to the audiobook for Yesteryear, and this morning I woke up and I actually was able to go back to everything that I had listened to and do some annotations and stuff like that, because again, I'm reading this for book club, so I want to have like a lot of discussion questions and just like really study the text, you know? And I filmed all of that, except I filmed it in slow motion. So unfortunately, we actually don't have any like talking or anything. Like I don't even remember what the last thing I told you was. But I'm back. Wow. I don't know where the last thing, like I don't know what I said last, but I have a lot of laundry, which is why we're standing like in my bedroom with like all my clothes here. So all of these clothes right here in these hampers, I've got 3 hampers worth of clean clothes that have not been put away, and I have to work tomorrow. So normally right now, I would be sitting down. It's 8:57. I'd be sitting down normally to watch Love Island, but Jake hates me. My boyfriend hates me, and he actually left the house at 8 p.m. to go hang out and get work done. Anyways, I am going to watch Love Island at 9:30, and if he's not here, then whatever. I literally don't care. But I also went to Barnes & Noble, so I wanted to share with you guys my little haul from Barnes & Noble, because I was like in the mood to buy a book, and I actually ended up buying 2 books that I'm very excited to start. Barnes & Noble haul. I know this is going to be shocking to you and to everybody and to myself even. I have never read an Emily Henry book. I know, but I did buy an Emily Henry book, and I'm very excited. I bought, drumroll please, Happy Place by Emily Henry. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I've wanted to read this book for so long and I haven't read it yet. And so I'm looking forward to it. So I got this, and I picked up The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. I'm very excited. This is a thick book. I don't know how many pages is in this book, but I do love a good book that is thick but paperback. Like that shit just Anyways, let me update you guys on Yesteryear, because I have not yet, but I'm very excited because we finally reached the part where we see that she is transported back to the 1800s, okay? And she wakes up and she's like, what the heck is this? Why is it so cold? Basically, what happened is she is now in her house, except not her house. Her house if it was the 1800s, like literally. And it kind of shows, I really love the way that this author kind of plays with time. I'm a huge fan of multiple timelines. So like, I love a good flashback. I love a good, second running timeline at the same time where we're going like back and forth. And basically, like when she built her big, bougie, gorgeous, perfect house, she wanted it to look very old-timey, except there's like perfectly imported Italian floors and like tile from like the Maldives. Like, I don't know. Like, she is doing like a bougie, nice, modern version of like a traditional house, and like literally asked to move the house around when it comes to like the way that it's structured, because she doesn't want like any modern appliances to be shown in her content. So literally for that purpose, she asked them to like put like the fridge and the microwave and the dishwasher like all in one back corner of the kitchen, because they only want like the sink to show and like nothing else. And like, it's just ridiculous. But she gets transported back into this 1800s home, and then she has her family. She has her kids and her husband, except they're not really her kids and her husband, and they look like them, but they're not them. And she's very confused. She thinks like maybe someone kidnapped her, maybe they're messing with her. She tries to run away. At one point, because she tries to run away and she gets trapped in like a bear trap, but like not for bears, it's like for smaller animals, but it clamps down on her ankle because she tries to run away into the woods. And her oldest daughter, who's like in her teenage phase and she like hates her mom and whatever, she's like, oh, this stupid bitch, like, let me sew you up with literally like thread and a needle. And then we get flashbacks of when she got married and like her high school or her college days at Harvard, and it's very interesting. So I'm very excited, but I figured since I can't watch Love Island for the next 30 to 40 minutes, I'm going to listen to more of Yesteryear while I put away my laundry. Okay, besties, it is now 9:52. We listened to about an hour of the audiobook. We have 8 hours and 35 minutes left. We're 38% of the way through. And I've put away all my laundry. And we're getting some more clues as to what the heck is going on. How is Natalie in this 1800s house? Like, what's going on? And I find it very interesting. So I think I'm going to stop there. But I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, we're about to find out who Sincere wrote a letter to.
Who do you think it will be?
I think he wrote it to Melanie.
I think he wrote it to Soap.
And you're dumb. Press play.
The Islanders have been writing their love.
No, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
Girl, this is gonna be empty. Yeah, what I say, boys? Let's go! Bye, Saul! Yes! Bye! Hey besties, so I have officially completed Yesteryear by Caro Claire Burke. This book, oh my goodness, we have to talk about it. We have to talk about this book because I feel like I need to go, I finished this book, okay? I feel like I need to go stare at a wall for 5 hours. Like, that was how this book finished, made me feel. I could talk about this book for hours, okay? But I'm gonna give you guys my final review, and I don't wanna give any spoilers away. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna talk about the book without spoilers first, and then we'll talk about spoilers at the end. Basically, we're following our female character, Natalie, a psychotic, strange, deranged, narcissistic, controlling, manipulative, pathological, lying, Christian conservative woman who is also an influencer. She's living on her like homesteading farm, basically with her husband and her 3 or 4 kids. And I think I've already kind of explained to you guys how we were getting kind of flashbacks about like how this all happened, while then she gets transported into a world in like the 1800s, basically. We are getting flashbacks a lot about Caleb's family, specifically. Caleb is her husband, and who this person is that she really married. Like, she didn't even really know, because obviously the way that dating in the Christian conservative world works is like, You go on dates for a little bit, in a couple of months or maybe a year, you get engaged, and then like in the following months, you get married. And it's very quick. There's so much to be said in this book though about that, about how I was lied to, or I was told that this is what I was supposed to do, and so that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm doing what I was told. And I think that there's a very big argument to make on Natalie's behalf of like, she was doing everything she was told to do. Like, she found the right man who came from a good family. She married him, did not have sex until marriage. She had the child. She was doing the mother thing. She was doing the wife thing, encouraging and pushing her husband, who had like arguably like no drive. On their first date, he asked her kind of like, what do you want for your life? And she was like, oh, I don't know, like maybe a farm, and like I would have all these kids, and we'd have like a chicken and a barn and the blah blah, and it'd be like beautiful. And he was like, oh, that's awesome. And then she's like, what do you want? He's like, I don't know, like what you said sounds nice. Like literally that's exactly what he says. And so there is a huge argument here to be made for Natalie on her behalf that like, yeah, homegirl she did what she could with what she had. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's resourceful. If anything, she's resourceful. You know, we get more into like his family and how his dad, Doug, which is actually really funny because my boyfriend's dad's name is Doug, but he is a politician and he's trying to make this like presidential run. And there's this scene where he's having like a rally and she's there, and the people there are like so crazy. And like, we get to see how Caleb kind of goes into like, the world is so awesome and I'm so happy to be here, and like I want to be with my kid and like experience life. Like, and then he gets online into these online forums where people are talking about the rats in New York City, and it's just, there's more rats than there are people, and you know, and they do this weird stuff in school, and they teach these kids all this stuff they don't need to know, and all these different very far right extremist ideas and theories, conspiracy theories is what we'll call them. And he gets super in depth into this community online, and his dad is a very conservative politician, and so the worlds kind of collide, and we see a very, very similar parallel to what we're seeing today, and how the conservative movement has gone from, you know, traditional families taking care of your kids and women staying at home, and like, if that's what you want to do, whatever, like I'm not judging anybody for that. It's gone from sort of this like returning to American tradition, returning to these like values, returning to, I found that very interesting about Caleb's family is how like Doug ends up going from this like conservative Republican man to a far-right extremist who is inciting anger in people and resentment, and thinks that like the world is upside down. And there's this thing that they talk about is like, oh, the Civil War is coming, the Civil War is coming. And I see that so much talked about, especially in conservative media, of like, you know, there's gonna be two sides, and like, you better be ready, and like, blah, 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 and you better be on our side, because if you're not, you're gonna lose, and you know, all these things. And it's so interesting to see those parallels between this fictional world and reality, because obviously it's not like a fantasy, like this is taking place in Idaho, like in a real place and whatever, but like it's so interesting to see that happening in literature. And then when we think about their relationship together, like they didn't have a romantic relationship. They had a very, this is what we're supposed to do, this is like, we're gonna date, we're gonna get married, and then we're gonna have kids, and we're gonna like have a house and the farm and the this and the that, and like that's the plan, and that's what this is. And it's very interesting too to see how, even though Natalie is raised to be this like submissive wife, like do what your husband wants, like follow him, she leads the way. She's the one planning moves. She's the one organizing. And so one of my favorite things that I'm gonna bring up today, because I have book club today, I'm very excited about it. One of my big topics in my head when I'm like thinking about talking about this book at book club today is when we talk about Natalie. Like, yes, she is crazy, she's a pathological liar, she's a manipulator, she's this, she's that, but she is also a woman who has experienced being told what she should be forever. And that theme of like being sold this idea that like you have to be the perfect wife and the perfect mother and a good Christian and you'll get what you want. And she keeps kind of chasing that of like, if I just keep pretending like I'm the perfect mother, and I keep pretending like I'm the perfect wife, and I keep pretending like I'm a good Christian, I can be happy. And there's a moment in this book where her mom asks her, or tells her, like, I just want you to be happy. And she's like, there's that word again, this like made up idea of like, what is supposed to make me happy? Like, I am happy. Like, I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. It's almost like it was embedded so much in her brain that like you have to do what's right and what society says is right and what the community and what the church and what your mom says is right. And so she's like, I just have to do all this stuff, even though she doesn't want to. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't actually love what she's doing. She doesn't love her husband. She doesn't love her kids. She doesn't love being a mother. And so it's like this compulsive need to do the things because she was told that that would make her happy. That is what's supposed to be happy. That's what's supposed to be perfect. That's what you're supposed to do. Like, yeah. Move to the farm, pop out a couple kids, get married, be a good Christian, go to church on Sundays, and like, wow, you're just magically gonna be happy. And this idea of like, she's wrong for wanting those things, and she's wrong for doing those things when she literally does not know better. And I think also when you're brainwashed as a child from such a young age, there's this topic of her father and how he's no longer with us. This constant denial of what we truly want as women, to serve the Lord and to serve men. It's just like, can you blame her for being driven by what she was told to be driven by? And yes, she takes it to a whole other level. When she starts doing the influencer thing, yes, like it's apparent that she doesn't really want this family. She just likes it because it's what she's supposed to do. And she feels like she's checking off the boxes. Also, there's like a really big question that I have when she initially starts up the social media for this like homesteading account, right? She kind of does it out of spite, but I don't really know what her motivations are, because in the book it talks about how there was a really long period of time where there was no action on her page. She was like posting and like nobody was interacting. Like she had 1,000 followers, but like no comments on her posts. And she was kind of struggling with that. And so I would love to know like what the motivation is for someone like Natalie to continue posting their life online when, like, I don't know, maybe it's just this constant need for approval and to show everyone that like, I did it, I did all the things that I was supposed to do, like, where's my prize? And I have genuine sympathy for Natalie because I think that she was so disturbed because of the lies she was told. And like, they're not even necessarily lies. Like, yes, a woman can be happy staying at home with their children and living on a farm and like with her husband and whatever. A woman can be happy that way. I truly think so. I know that like there's a lot of people who would disagree and say like, there's no way, like that's not freedom, you don't have, well, but I think everyone's sense of happiness and like everybody finds happiness in different things. I would not be happy in that life. I don't want to be on a farm. I don't want to just be raising my kids and doing nothing else with my life. But I have the choice. I had the conscious choice to say, maybe I do want to stay at home. Maybe I don't. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But somebody like Natalie has been told that this is what you have to do. And she doesn't want to do those things. So she forces herself to do these things. She forces herself to make it happy. She forces herself to see her husband as this like man and like leader of the house and blah, blah, and he's not. And she forces him to become that man. And then he becomes that man, and then she's like, I noticed that he doesn't play with our kids anymore, and he doesn't do this, and he doesn't do that, and he doesn't have this wonder, and like, I did that to him. I don't know, but then you also look at him and it's like, okay, dude, like, especially with what we find out at the end, it's like, you didn't have to be here, bro. Like, you chose to be here. I don't know. And like, there's just so much to unpack here. But just know, if you are looking for a book that is bingeable, that is pretty fast-paced, pretty action-packed, there's a lot going on, the ending will blow your mind. Truly. Like, I don't think it's an ending where you're like, oh my God. But it's an ending where you're like, holy shit. 5 stars. I recommend this book. I cannot wait for this movie to come out. I know that Anne Hathaway bought the rights like instantly. As she should, Queen, make that movie. Make that movie because it's gonna be so good. I can't, like, in my brain it's already so good that like I can't even imagine what it would be like. So good. this is the part where you want to go ahead and click subscribe, like, and comment down below. And stay tuned for the next video, and I'll see you guys next time. If you have already read the book, stay a second for some spoilers because we have to talk about some tea. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a second. Ready? Okay. Bitch. Oh my God. Oh my God. First of all, let's talk about Natalie and Caleb's relationship. She said, I feel like I have to put a towel over it and wait an hour for it to rise. Oh my God, bro. I cannot believe she said that. I'm not gonna lie, this entire book, Natalie had me giggling, okay? Natalie might be a psycho crazy bitch, but so am I, because I was laughing, and she's keeping it real up here. Out here, she's not keeping it real, but in here, she's keeping it real, and she was like, I'm not dealing with none of y'all bitches shit. Like, y'all are all stupid. My husband is stupid. He's incapable. I have to tell him what to do. I loved it when she, like, came to Doug's office and was like, I need 5 milli right now, and she was like, men like him don't need somebody to be, like, passive and scared. Like, they want you to go in with, like, you know, that shit blew my mind. Also, I'm really, really proud of Natalie's mom, but when she's talking about how Abigail's dating the new pastor and the pastor is like progressive and like blah, blah. And I also think it's so funny when she's like, he thinks that the gays should be allowed to come to church and be welcome just like anyone. Like, that's the most like mind-blowing, groundbreaking idea. Like, oh my God. So freaking good. Also, honest to God, I don't fuck with Shannon. Like, I'm sorry. I genuinely believe that Shannon was there from the beginning to dismantle her, because, like, what do you mean that liberal women are looking at her as like someone who's homesteading and doing whatever she wants, and like, that's so cool. Are you serious? And then when she lies in the interview about how she dropped out of college for this job, even though we know that she dropped out of college and then got this job, is telling me that she's not an honest person. I didn't say that. I'm not saying she didn't speak facts. Oh my God, when she said, oh, Natalie, does he not get hard with you? I lost it. And honestly, I don't blame Natalie for choking her out, because I would choke somebody out too. Like, what do you mean? I hired you, you dumb little girl, to do my social media and blah, blah. Also, I can't believe that she hired her and didn't have her sign an NDA, because that would have solved every single problem in this book, but I get it. I get it. Honestly, like a cease and desist would have been, if that was me, I mean, it would never be me. But if that was me, cease and desist, girl. No. You signed an NDA, bitch. Shut your mouth up. Oh my God. And I find it really interesting that the entire first half where we're getting like the questions in between the chapters, when they're like, oh, like, how do your kids feel about being on camera? Like, blah, 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 blah. The fact that that was the interview with Rena at the end. Oh my God. Also, Rena being a recurring character in this book is so symbolic of just how she's comparing her life to a woman who is free. And she's like, oh, I bet she's like so miserable. And then at points she's also like, I bet Rena wouldn't be as miserable as I am right now. And it's like, Rena is this constant reminder for Natalie of like how she could have been Rena. She could have had Rena's life, but she didn't, because she was like so determined to have this like perfect Christian life. Like, insane. Also, just how funny and amazing is it that like she blew up because some weirdo, conservative, psychotic male podcaster talked about her on his fucking podcast. Like, of course. Like, literally, of course. Like, there's this one girl who's going viral right now because she is so like annoying and conservative and like weird. I don't know what her name is. It's like Samantha or something. She's not like super white though, which I don't understand, girl. Why are you talking on social media like that? You don't even have blonde hair, blue eyes. Like, that's crazy. And like, people are making fun of her husband because he looks like a bottom. Yeah, basically that. Like, that's what she reminds me of, is like this girl who just like thinks that she's done it all. And then turns out you didn't, girl. Turns out you didn't. And it just blows my mind, the very clear parallels to current American politics and like the social, what's the word, culture wars. It's very much that. And I I loved it. Also, I feel bad for Amelia because she's obviously just doesn't know any better. The comment about her taking baths with her sons is crazy. Like, that's nasty and that's weird. I feel like Doug thought about asking Natalie for something more, not just in like what he asked her for, like, oh, you need to have more kids with my son, but like I thought he was gonna really ask her for sex. It was looking like it, to be honest, in my opinion. The ending though, I find brilliant. It was so smart. Like the fact that she is so caught up in her own delusions that she literally goes crazy, forgets 20 years of her life. And then one day she's 50 years old, wakes up and she's like, why is it so cold? Like, where's the generator? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, from beginning to end, bro, that's insane. And then the part where they were like the two guys came to work on the fence and she was like, they look familiar. Like, I don't know from where. I was like, maybe they're the Home Depot workers. Like, I don't know, bro. Also, don't piss me off, bitch. She was like, we do have a border problem. These fucking Mexicans, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, when bitch, she was just trying to say hola to them every fucking morning 5 seconds ago. Like, ugh. Also, I think Mary writing a book and talking about her experience and kind of, I love that for her because I think it's good because when we look at, obviously the two sons are just like enabling their parents because they're just gonna like do whatever their dad says, you know? And then when we look at like Junebug's obviously like not doing the best mentally, but when we look at Clementine and how she's kind of like over their shit, it very much feels like a mask, like she hasn't fully, obviously that's not something you can ever nothing is something you fully heal from. But I think like she's putting on this hard shell to make it seem like she's moved past it and she's okay and like it doesn't bother her anymore. But it does, especially like when Mary's, the prologue talks about how she cries every time they go to the ocean. Like, yeah, of course. Like, and I think that Mary is someone who is actually doing a really good job of overcoming it and healing from it. In the sense of like, Clementine is the representation of how we all felt about Natalie in the beginning of the book, I think. Like, this bitch is crazy, like she's nuts, she's stupid, she's all this, that, and the other, psychotic, manipulative, lying, like all this stuff. And then I think that Mary is how we all feel at the end of this book because when you look at Natalie and everything that she's done, like how sad is it that she has spent her entire life chasing this fake happiness that was never meant to be hers, and like it's too late now. Like she's got she has 9 kids and then she thought she was pregnant with the 10th. Like, girl. And crazy when Clementine was like, you're not pregnant, you have fucking menopause, like period. But yeah, I think like Mary kind of saying, you know, like I still love my mom and those were some of the best years of my life and I'll always look back on that with fondness of like how simple life was, but you know, that doesn't negate that it was not good. And like, I can't fucking read or write my own name. I think that was really beautiful. I think that was a really good way to end this story and a really good way to end the book. At the end of the day, everybody's imperfect. And some people are more imperfect than others. But also, that comes a lot from Natalie's own trauma and Natalie's religious trauma and Natalie's familial trauma and troubles, like pretending like their dad is dead when he's not fucking dead. And then finding out that the only reason why he's not in their lives is because their mom had the guts to say, I don't want this anymore, and made him leave after she cheated. I don't know. And then also seeing her mom heal, and while yes, I think it's hilarious that she like finds the idea of like allowing gay people to come to church and feel welcomed, like groundbreaking, it's also beautiful because that's the whole point of life, is to challenge your own beliefs and to change your mind. Like, I am a firm believer in changing your mind. At the same time, you have the right to like not forgive people and like not give a fuck that they've changed, and that's totally fine. But I think, especially as someone who's not involved in whatever it is that they did to you, right, or did to someone, you can look at a person who's made mistakes, know their mistakes, and say, you know what, that's okay. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to be different. The only thing I won't say that with is men who cheat. Because if you're gonna cheat once, you're gonna do it again. Sorry. What I'm saying is, as someone who has grown mentally, emotionally, as a person and like as a woman, right? Like Natalie doesn't deserve forgiveness from everyone just because she's grown, which she never does, obviously. We don't get to see the end of her life, but I'm assuming she never does. But like, even like her and Caleb having that conversation when they're finally left with no kids and being like, I actually really fucking hate you, but let's get out of here. Like, let's leave this ranch. Like, let's just go live the rest of our lives together. And I think that her getting that small bit of a second chance, quote unquote, is deserved. I think everyone deserves a second chance. So, I don't know. I think it's a lot to discuss, and I'm very excited to talk about it with book club today. So, yeah. But that's the end of my review. That's the end of my spoilers review. If I missed anything, like, please comment down below. Like, if you've read this book, please tell me, okay? Because it's so good. It's so good. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Okay, I love you guys. I'll see you guys next week with another video. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment down below anything that I missed. If you like this book, if you didn't like this book, I don't know. If you disagree with any of my opinions, let me know. But yeah, love you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.